Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks. My name is Sim. Along with me is my co-host Noreen. This evening, we only have two hosts for this show. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And before we get started, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. They're here somewhere. All right, let's give it to them. HalfHourDean.com is the website where you want to go and get a wife and you want to do it in a private setting. Um, Face it, everyone in the West, all brown people, and they know each other. The minute you go on a marriage search website, everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Weren't you
So,
on Shadi.com?
of course.
You were
No.
not on Shadi.com.
No, I wasn't. But I was on other ones.
No, you weren't.
No. Wait, was I? No, does Nasib count? Nasib.com. I think back then they.
Did we have Nasib?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
2000? No.
No, we didn't.
Nasib came later. It was after our time.
Missed out.
Ours was AOL, and you just had to search chat rooms and Pal Talk and AOL.
Missed out on all the fun.
Yeah.
All the 90s kids.
All right.
WahidInvest.com is the website you go to for Sharia investments. Go to WahidInvest.com for your halal investing needs. And MyWasiya.com is a website that was dedicated to building a Sharia compliant will. Go to MyWasiya.com and get your will created in as little as 15 minutes. Just print that baby out and take it to the library and get it notarized, and you have a legal tender will. Simple as that. You never know where you're going to go, so get it done now. Especially you 30-somethings and 40-somethings.
And 50 and 60.
Oh,
Especially.
that's a no-brainer for them.
All right.
Yeah, so
So
How
this
you-
is the first time. It's just you and me.
yeah, Noreen made me change the camera angle.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit.
I think it looks good. We were bickering about it before the show. So I want to ask you guys, can you show them the other angle and then show them this angle and see what they think?
Yeah. So here's the other angle.
So there's that angle. I don't like that angle. I think it's a terrible angle.
I love it.
I hate it. And then where's the other? And there's this angle.
I don't like this face. This face looks, I feel a little chubby. Got to get back on the Atkins diet again, or the keto diet as they call it now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't see anybody saying which angle they like yet, but someone's asking about how to start a podcast. So, someone said they do like the new angle. So there you go.
Okay.
So just send us an email at info@themadmanlukes and we'll send you a list of things on how to start up a podcast. Sim kind of did a little write-up on that. So
Yeah, I'll send you a quick PDF for the small payment of $50.
yeah, right. It's free.
Yeah.
Aw, Omar likes my angle.
Everyone likes your angle. You're a girl. No one's going to say like, "Hey, that angle makes you look fat." No one's.
It shows my dimple, my little tiny dimple.
Okay, here you go. You know my religious friends are watching, right?
So
And you're embarrassing me already.
whatever.
We're not even 5 minutes into this podcast,
Oh
and
my
you
God.
started
He's
it.
always embarrassed by me.
No, you do these American woman things.
That's because I was born and raised here.
I know, but
You should have
it's-
gone back
it's-
to India if you wanted to.
there's an etiquette to being a
Submissive
Muslim
wife.
woman, and you have to be very shy and timid. Which
I'm American. We're not shy and timid.
They are shy and timid American women. You're just not one of them.
Omer said to give me a break.
I need to take the belt out.
All right. So we have a good show for you guys. It's just me and Sim. So we thought we would talk about marital issues.
Is this the first time, right? We've never been me and you.
Never.
Wow.
First times for everything. So Moore is back from Dubai, but he's sick.
Baba Ali is, he has a family emergency to attend to. I don't really talk about family emergency situations unless people tell me I can. So,
And then you
And-
were sick on Monday.
yes,
So we didn't have Mad Mondays because Sim was down.
down in the dumps.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
So, no, they were asking who was sick. So, yeah, that was you on Monday. But Yeah, so it looks like the rest of the team is sick, and then Maheen couldn't come through. Had something going on, so just the two of us. And we are going to talk about marital issues. So we have another handy dandy infographic. Did you get that infographic?
Yeah.
I told you.
I think I lost it on the screen now.
Let's see if you can find it. There
There
you
it
go.
is.
All right. So I can't see it because it's so tiny. But hold on, let me grab it from my phone just a second. All right. So this infographic also came from the FYI organization, and it's about the top 5 reasons for conflict among American Muslim couples. So the top conflict reason is in-laws.
In-laws.
Yes. So women, 36% of women said in-laws, and 23% of males said in-laws. And then the women...
It's the wife's in-laws that are a problem.
All right. So in-laws, the women said in-laws, finances, different interests, spending time together, family and friends. And the men said in-laws, different interests, attitudes towards sex, finances, family or friends. So the reason why we decided to take this topic is because Sim and I, as some of you may know, we got married very young. I was 19 and he was 20 years old when we got married. Alhamdulillah, this year it'll be 18 years. And we, alhamdulillah, have 4 children now. 2 teenagers and a couple young ones. They're like 9 and 8. So, you know, we have quite a bit of experience under our belt, and we've made it through 18 years. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie. All the things that they've mentioned in this infographic of conflict, I think we experienced every single one of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Without a doubt.
So, first of all, so we got married. You know, we've been seeing those, what were those posts that we were talking about how girls shouldn't marry, no, if guys can't provide, if they're not like independent enough to get their own place for their wives, that they shouldn't even bother getting married. Remember we were talking about that on one of the podcasts? I think the men man up, women make me a sandwich or something.
Right.
Right? Well, guess what? Sim lived in the basement of his parents' house, and he still got married.
Ain't no shame in that, boys. Get it. Get it while you can. Get it. Doesn't matter where you live. They'll adjust. Make sure you never do dishes either in the first few months of marriage. Set those expectations low.
He's such a jerk. All right. I tell people not to take advice from him because he gives the worst advice. It's all like sexist, like misogynistic stuff.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it is.
I protest
Whatever.
those accusations.
So anyway, all right. So let's see what people are saying. Oh, do you guys ever get tired of talking to each other after 18 years?
Yes.
No.
No.
This
no.
guy actually
No.
never talks. So he's very introverted and I'm more talkative, and he's always like in his own head and like thinking, and I'm that. There's 2 of you. Oh, and I'm always like, what's going on? What are you thinking? Tell me what's on your mind. Let's talk to me. Spend time with me. And he's always like, he always has that RBF, right? I told you guys, he's got that RBF face.
Listen. Someone has to make the plans for the future, and it's not you guys. You guys are watching Kardashians and the E channel and things that don't matter, or things that are of no consequence to the world. Someone has to make the plans in the relationship, and that's what you have to sit down and think. You don't have to talk to anybody. See, 2 guys can be called, like I can call up Mort right now, and we don't even have to be talking.
On the phone?
We don't even have to be talking. This is how we hang out. We just,
You just call each other and don't talk?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk, and initially, right? We'll start off with a conversation, and we'll be watching a show or something, and
it
both
gets
of us just get
silent?
quiet, yeah, and we'll just be like doing our thing, and then like, all right, we'll get back to talking again about something else. Like, there's no
What?
there's no pressure like you guys. There's always like this, like a race between women when they're having a conversation. It seems like you both are competing to have the more entertaining story. And you guys are like talking at a million miles an hour and trying to outdo each other with the most entertaining story of your day or of your week. Is that not incorrect? Am I off?
I don't know.
No?
I've got plenty
know
to
it's-
talk about.
You know your boy Sim just like nails it when he says it. And when she's at a loss for words, I just nailed it.
I'm actually reading the chat. That's why. I see Farheen. She says silent phone conversation is pretty weird. Laugh out loud. I love Farheen. She's my girl. All right, so we got married at 19 and 20, and I had zero expectations because I grew up in Booneyville, Arkansas, and knew nothing about, Desi culture, even Muslim culture, whatever you want to call it, about living with in-laws. Like, I just lived with, my parents are divorced, and I lived with my mom and my grandparents and my sibling, and then my dad's house was just my dad and my stepmom and my little siblings. So there was no grandparents, there was no extended family situation that much. Even the house that I lived in, my grandparents actually had their own house. So I didn't have this whole like extended family experience. So when I got married, I was just like, oh, I'm going to get married. I'm going to be with my husband. Onto the screen. And we're just going to be all hunky-dory and everything's going to be great. And we're going to be, we're going to hold our hands and run into the sunset together. And it's going to be like a Bollywood movie and everything's going to be great. So when we first moved in, I think he told me that he lived in the basement. And I was like, there's no way I'm sleeping, like I'm going to have a room in a basement. So he kicked his brothers out from his room, right?
Yeah.
Upstairs. You kicked your brothers
But
out from upstairs.
the basement would have been the most logical decision. I think you don't realize the beauty of a basement. But that's good, though. They prepared you for later
There was
in
no
life.
bathroom down there.
Oh, we could have had one made.
I saw the bathroom that your parents got made, okay? That was not a bathroom.
They're brown. You have to understand that they're not going to spend much on a bathroom. They used to poop in little holes in the ground.
Can you just put the screen with both of us? I feel awkward.
But they can't see the graphic then.
Who cares about the graphic? We're not talking about the graphic right now.
All right. See, already in a fighting spirit. She wants to humiliate me on
I'm not humiliated. I'm just telling
national
you.
TV
Whatever.
with millions of people watching all around the world.
It's entertainment.
She loves
They
doing
love
this.
to see like spouses bicker.
But never,
we bicker all the time.
you can
18 years of
humiliate me on
bickering.
YouTube, but never in front of my friends.
Someone asked if you're
Unacceptable.
he is the eldest child, and I'm the youngest. So there's that dynamic as well, where he's the boss, and I'm that annoying little, sibling. So the way we bicker is like, he gets mad about everything, and I'm always like defending myself, like what were you saying the other day about how whenever we fight, how I'm always like having to defend myself in a really shrill voice, because I probably had to do that with my siblings. 'cause I was the
Yes.
youngest.
Oh my God. Come on, Noreen. How could you just... Oh, what was that you saying again? Like, you didn't remember. So here's the thing. Since the beginning of our marriage, every response was like with a snap. It's like there's an extra amount of spice to every response. And I'm like, wait, I just asked like a very mild question. Like, why do you have to, raise your voice or, just sound like you're irritated? But it took me a long time to figure it out. In fact, a month ago, I said, I figured it out. You make that tone when we're having a conversation or when I'm asking you something that really upsets me. That tone that it sounds like you're arguing with your sisters, and I think that's where it came from. And she's like, "Oh yeah, that is why I do it." And I'm like,
Yeah, because
"Oh,
I'm the annoying little sister. I'm proud of it, too. So, anyway, we got married, and we moved in with his parents. And I didn't realize that I not only married him, I married his entire family. And I not only had to... So, Sim and I we only met when he came to propose, which was like a 3-hour block of time. March 3rd.
yeah."
Of 2001. And I didn't see him again until our wedding. So, so we get married and I have to adjust to him and adjust to 10 other people in the house. Not 10. It was like your mom and your 3 siblings, because your dad was in New Orleans at the time working. So there was 4 other people in the house, and they were all teenagers. All his siblings were teenagers. They were 19, 16, and 14. So, and I was 19 myself, so I'm an annoying teenager, and they're teenagers. So we would like all bicker and fight all the time. And his mom, poor thing, had to like manage all these kids. Basically, we're a bunch of little kids, like, right?
Yeah,
Think
it's
about it
true.
from her angle.
I don't know how my mom dealt with you, to be honest.
I don't know how she dealt with you. Okay. All right. So
that was supposed to be a joke, being the husband defending his mom more than
Yeah,
his
yeah,
wife.
yeah.
It just went over your head.
no, I got it. So anyway, so we get married, and I don't know, like
You what?
so I thought I was just married to him, right? And you were working like 4 days a week. You had this weird schedule, and so when you would come home, we would like stay up all night talking and like hanging out, like, and then I would wake up Fudger. I'd make your breakfast. I'd pack your lunch. You remember those days when
Yeah.
I used to actually do those things? Yeah. So I'd do all that, and then he would leave for work, and I would go to sleep because we were up till 2 a.m. and then woke up for Fudger or whatever. And I wouldn't get up till like, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something. And your mom would be so pissed.
So my mom was a woman who got up early because my dad was in construction, and in construction they do work really early. They get up at 5 in the morning. She makes breakfast for him and all that. And the way my parents are is like, if you wake up late, you're a loser. Like,
Yeah.
only bums do that. Like,
But we were like teenagers still. We were still
Yeah.
kids. So to us, that was normal. Like,
yeah.
you stay up all night and then you sleep during the day. Like, it was like living with your best friend, like a sleepover, like just so much fun, like, oh, we can stay up all night and watch movies, and
Yeah.
then we can sleep all day. And then, and Sim himself is like naturally a night owl. Like, that's his waking hour, right? It's at night. Now I can't stay up at night. I have to go to bed, but he can still stay up to like 4 a.m. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I can operate on very little sleep, but
Anyway, who
yeah.
cares about all that?
Yeah.
So his mom would like get so mad that I would be sleeping, and then I'd wake up and I'd come out of the room and I'd be like, "Assalamu alaikum," like all happy, and she'd be like, like clearly, like she would not be happy, and then she wouldn't say anything to me, and then
because of your white privilege.
yeah. And that's true, actually, a little bit. But anyway, so, and then you would come home, and then she would tell you, she wouldn't tell me, but she would tell him, like, you need to tell your wife to, like, wake up early. She shouldn't be sleeping and whatever. And then he would tell me, and I'd be like, but I'm staying up at night with you. Like, you're my husband. Like, why did she care? And you're not even home during the day. Like, well, I'm going to be just cooking, cleaning for 8 hours until you get home. It doesn't take that long to, like, cook and clean, So then I think he was like, you were like, you need to start helping my mom more. That's what my mom wants. Since you're in the house, like, you need to get
Set
up
down
and
the law.
you need to help my mom around the house.
Your
or
boy
whatever.
Sim ain't like these snowflakes.
So then I started like helping your mom around the house, but because she had like 4 or 5 kids that she was managing.
So here's the thing. Look, the kitchen. My mom. She needs help around the kitchen, and I was like, hey, help out a little bit.
Yeah.
She'll be fine. It's a small price to pay for, just not having to do anything all day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty simple to me, at least.
Yeah. So I did
It
help.
wasn't like I was mad. I didn't
I
take out
did
the belt.
help.
Yeah.
I did help.
Mm-hmm.
But your mom, the way she is. So the way his mom is she will tell you even while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, clean the counter. You're cleaning the counter, and she's like, Noreen, clean the counter. I'm like, I'm cleaning the counter. She's like, go put this away. I'm like, wait, but I'm cleaning the counter. But she not only did that with me, she did that with all her kids. But I would take it personally. I thought it was like she hated me and she was just like wanted to annoy me and like wanted
Just trying to mess with your head.
yeah, mess with my head and just like piss me off, whatever. And then I would help her, and then she would say, she didn't do anything, or like they didn't do anything. I did everything today. And I would be pissed, but all his siblings would be pissed too. We'd be like, what the hell? We all did everything. Like, we did help. But it's like a Desi back home Hyderabad culture to like not, how would you say it? Like to not give anybody credit where credit's due. Like you,
Look,
or it's like
we
reverse
come from
psychology or something.
No, it's not the Desi thing. It's more of a Hyderabadi thing.
That's what I said,
It's a rough culture. You don't get a lot of compliments. You don't get a lot of pat on the backs. You got to do what you're told, and you do it, and you earn your keep. That's how it works.
So I did not take well to this. And I was like, fine, if you're going to say I'm not doing anything, I'm just not going to do anything. And I was like, again, guys, I was like 19, 20 years old. I was like immature little brat, right? So I just stopped helping. And I was like, whatever, I'm just going to take care of myself and my husband. And that's all I need to do. And I'm not going to, sit here and listen to like, whatever, you're not helping, whatever. So this carried on for like a bit, and then I started working, and because I was like, fine, if I'm not going to be helping around the house, then it's going to be like, oh, if she's in the house, she should be helping. I was like, I'll get a job, I'll start working. So we started working, and then we were both working going to school.
Yeah.
After because I didn't go to school, 9/11 happened right after we got married, and I was enrolled to go to college with at COD or whatever.
Some local community college.
Yeah, some local community college.
Don't expect the national audience to know.
Okay, whatever. So, so I was supposed to go, but when 9/11 happened, your family was all like, your uncles and stuff were like, don't send Noreen to college. She wears abaya, because at that time I used to wear abaya and stuff. And
Before you became a liberal.
Yeah, so they were like, she's going to get attacked in the parking lot, or someone's going to do something. Islamophobia like was a big thing after 9/11. So I didn't go to school for that first semester of our marriage, and then in January I started back. So so I started working and going to school, and I was pregnant with my first baby. So little 19-year-old pregnant, and work and school and hustling, and but we like hardly saw each other because you were working in school too.
Yeah.
So
I worked. Well, I was working full time, and college was also full time. Yeah.
Yeah. So we would both work and go to school, and would come home like late at night. And his mom would clean our room, do our laundry, cook dinner for us. She just picked up a lot of slack for us, because she knew we were hustling. And I was just this little brat who like didn't even, I was so entitled. Also because I was the youngest, and I think because like growing up, we always had like housekeepers, and I was kind of spoiled in that sense. Like I didn't even know how to like
You're a rich
clean.
kid.
Yeah, I was a little rich kid. Dad's a doctor. Even though my parents were divorced, like alhamdulillah, like financially we had no issues. And so I just was like this little rich kid, and he's like came from like upper middle class, I guess you could say, but they didn't have, housekeepers and all this stuff. So that was like another adjustment, because his mom would be like, you didn't clean your bathroom, or you didn't dust your, I don't know, your blinds. And I was like, who dusts blinds? Like I'd never even heard of that. So
they just magically clean themselves.
Exactly.
Dust repellent blinds.
And I was the youngest, so my sisters, whatever cleaning needed to get done, they would pretty much do it. And I was like the little princess that didn't need to do anything. So anyway, so there was all these expectations, and I couldn't live up to these expectations. And on top of that, I wanted to be like the perfect Muslim wife. And I couldn't figure out how to manage work and school and being pregnant and trying to be a good wife. Like, okay, I need to wake up and make breakfast and make lunch. Like, it was really, really hard, and I couldn't do it. And I felt like a failure. Like, I was not a good wife. I wasn't a good daughter-in-law. Like, everybody like was disappointed with me. Like, I just was a failure in life. Like, I just felt in those roles that were so important to me that I couldn't, meet other people's standards. So I struggled with that for a long time. And then, so then we have our daughter, and I had her like 3 days after I took my finals. And this was, I had now finished like 2 years of college at this point. And then I was 20 at this point and had the baby. And then a year later, so what his parents did, this is one point I want to make. If you're going to help your kids get married young, not only do you help them like live with you, whatever, what my in-laws did, which I think was genius, was they said, you guys need, since you're both working, you guys need to pay us rent. So we paid like a small rent every month. I don't even know, $600 or something. It was like something small. A month, and we got 2 bedrooms, and we had our own private bathrooms. So we had our own like little quarter of the house. So I don't know if Say is asking how young to us, but I was 19, he was 20 when we got married. So we paid that rent every month for about a year and a half of the 2 years that we were living with them. And when those 2 years were up, I mean, basically it wasn't like 2 years were up. We decided after 2 years, we're like, hey, we're making enough money. We should get our own place now. Like, what would upset us was his parents, whatever, it was you two. His parents would like, on the weekends when we'd want to sleep in, they would be like knocking on our door like at 9 a.m. Wake up. It's the morning. You guys shouldn't be sleeping in. And we're like, we're not little kids. We're like, we're adults now. We've got a kid now. Like, who do you think you are telling us to get up? Like, we know what we're doing. We're like, we just felt so adult.
We had no idea what we were doing.
So we're like, that's it. Let's just get our own place. Like, we can do whatever we want if we have our own place. So we told them that we were going to go find an apartment. So alhamdulillah, his dad was like, you guys were paying this rent for like the last year and a half. I'm going to give it back to you guys as down payment on your first home. So we ended up, now I had no like foresight that I have a child now. We're going to get a new home, and I need childcare. Who's been watching my baby for the past year? His mom, for free. Okay. So she was our, alhamdulillah, mashallah, may Allah give her a long life. She's watched all of our kids. But the first one, so she's watching our baby for free at his house. And I would just like wake up. My baby would be sleeping in the room. I'd just go to work. I'd come back, the baby's fed, like whatever. She'd change the diaper. And his mom would make dinner for us every night, I was so like unappreciative and like just didn't realize like how much she was doing for us. So we get our own, so we move. So I'm like, they're like, you guys should move close by because you have a baby. And I'm like, no, I don't want to live close by. I want to live where my friends are. Our friends were like all in Bolingbrook, remember?
Yeah.
And I was like 20 minutes away from his parents. So I was like, no, Bolingbrook is where it's at. We have to move there. And the houses are cheaper. And that's the place so that we can get a nice place for like cheap. And we can see our friends. And that's where I want to be. And they were like, my in-laws were like shaking their heads like, this girl's so stupid. She's so stubborn. And she's so set on like living so far. And she's going to see how difficult it is. So we move. And my job, okay, now this is where conflict came in. You remember this bratty thing you did? So my job was 5 minutes from my house. Okay. Sim's job was
Wait,
like,
your job was 5 minutes from where?
Yeah, I worked in Downers Grove. Remember?
Oh, okay.
Ilana. And his job was like, he would have to go past his parents' house to get to his job. And I was like, why don't you drop the baby off in the morning and I will, whatever, and I can pick up the baby or whatever. And he was, tell him what you did. Tell him what you
I
did.
just said, I don't like to take the kids out of the back seat. And, I think it's better that you do it. I think it's better that the mom sees them before dropping them off.
He didn't say any of that. He just said, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on in my head. Guys don't have
he was like,
difficulty verbalizing everything. But, in my mind, I'm like, it should be the mom who drops off the kids.
Whatever, whatever.
The kids need to see
brat.
the mom.
He was a brat and probably like misogynist or something. I don't know. I had to throw that in there. But,
proud misogynist.
The wife is working and I have to like take care of the kid. I have to do everything for the kid and he's just going to go to work and whatever, right? So I would have to drive all the way to his parents' house, which is 20 minutes away, and drive 20 minutes back towards my house to go to work. And then after work, I don't think you even picked her up after work.
Picked who up?
Aisha.
Well, you see, here's the thing. You don't understand. I was in my Madden prime. I don't know if you kids have heard of Madden NFL, especially you overseas kid, but it's the equivalent of FIFA for Americans. I was one of the best Madden players in the nation. I was very high ranked, and there were competitions happening. There were people wanting to play me. There was right after work, I would go and play Madden, and she didn't realize how important that is to a man, but now she does.
Whatever. So yeah, he was all into his video games, so he needed to quickly get home so he could play his video games. So I would have to drive 20 minutes back, pick up the baby, and drive 20 minutes back home, right? And then when I would get home...
But you don't understand. There's also... You're keeping the relations with my mom too. So you're not... There's additional wisdom that happened as a result of Madden.
That I was going to your mom's and hanging out with her.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you're building
true.
relations. It was something unexpected.
I did.
Okay, I'll give you that. It was. I wasn't that. I didn't have the gift of foresight to see that. That was one of the unintended
Silver
results
lining.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and then I come home, and I have to manage a house. I've never managed a house before. I have to cook. I have to clean. This guy doesn't know how to cook and clean. Well, actually, you secretly knew how to cook.
I didn't want to
tell
do it.
me.
See, I'm telling you guys, when you guys get married, don't do anything. Just slowly, after 5 years,
he had to suffer eating bad food for a couple years because what would I make? I would make mashed potatoes out of like the box, those flakes, mashed potato flakes. Do you remember that crap I used to make?
Idahoan is a great brand, by the way. We figured out after trying every mashed potato flaky brand.
I think Aisha still remembers those nasty mashed potatoes I used to make.
Idahoan has actually makes pretty good ones.
So
I'll give it to
I
him.
remember when we were setting up the house, his mom was like, you cannot use Shan masala packets. That was like a big thing. She goes, no Hyderabadi family, no true Hyderabadi family would ever allow a Shan packet in their house. So I had to learn.
For non-Desis, Shan packet is like mixed spices that are prepackaged so that you know what to add into whatever recipe or...
So if you're making biryani, there's like a packet, and you literally, all you do is like add the meat and add the packet, and just it'll give you instructions how to cook it, and that's it. Like, nothing's by scratch. So I had to learn to cook by scratch because I would not be a good Hyderabadi daughter-in-law, even though I'm not Hyderabadi, I'm Pakistani, but in her mind, I would not be a good daughter-in-law if I did not learn how to cook by scratch. So I had to try. I remember, like, I would forget coriander. I would forget salt. I would forget so many things when I'd be cooking, and like just so many cooking failures. And
a lot of them.
Yeah. And then cleaning, like Sim. Okay, so Sim would play his video games, right? And guess who used to come over? Mort and Haroon and Sheikh Amr was overseas at that time, right?
Oh, yeah, he was in Mauritania.
Who else used to come over those days?
I
Bolingbrook.
don't want to mention any names.
Yeah,
I
right.
think you're calling out already some people that I don't think
Whatever.
wanted to be mentioned.
So all these guys used to come over at night, right? And
Because I was the only married guy, and I had the first pad, like a bachelor pad. Like every guy wants to have this little space, even though it wasn't much. We had some place where we could hang out and we can have.
yeah, he was still living like the bachelor life. Did my mic just get really weird?
No, you're fine.
I feel like it got really loud.
Oh yeah, did you hit something?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
It just
think
got
you-
really loud. Anyway, so yeah, so he was like he was still living the bachelor life. And we had a kid, and I was now pregnant with my second child. And for him it was like every night was like guy night. Every night. Weeknights, weekend nights, every night was guy night. And we used to fight about this a lot. Like
So here's the thing. All right. Now a lot of guys, you get married, they're thinking, this girl's gonna give me space.
no.
Not this one.
No.
Where am I pointing? Not this girl. I'm pointing my second wife over there.
Astaghfirullah.
Stuff. I was only kidding.
Is your
So-
camera backwards? Like, do it again?
So I think I have to go like this.
Oh, that's funny.
So she said she wouldn't leave me alone. Like she's like glue. She's like,
Yeah, because I left my whole family in Arkansas. I had nobody but
but
you.
I expected you to make some friends.
I
didn't
did,
expect-
but guess what? I was only 19, 20-year-old with kids. Everybody else wasn't married. And I didn't want to be friends with, like, the aunties.
Yeah, so you make friends with young bachelorettes and get them married to my friends or me. No, I didn't mean me.
So, whatever. So, anyway, so I worked.
Yeah.
I worked at a Muslim place with, like, old men.
Yeah.
5 old men. There were no women there. So I had no friends there. And then I went to school. No, I wasn't going to school then
No.
because now I had kids. So I stopped going to school for a little bit. And my life was work and my kids. So where am I going to have friends?
That's kind of boring, to be honest.
Well,
I
who
think-
put me in that situation?
Well, listen, you have to.
You never said.
You have to step up for yourself
Hold
and say
on,
like,
he
"Hey,
never said.
watch the kids while I go hang out with my
you
friends."
never.
You never said that.
No, I did. I did say, "Hey, can you watch the kids?" And you would never watch the kids.
What?
I used to tell people I was like a single mother, and it was like I was a man, and his mom was like my wife.
Yeah.
She was a stay-at-home wife who took care of my kids while I went to work. And then I was the husband, and I came back from work, and I'd pick up the kids, and I'd go home. And he didn't lift a finger. He didn't help me with anything.
It's a woman's world now. You gotta step up and wear the pants sometimes.
People are asking, why were you like that, Sim? Oh my God. Yeah, why were you like that, Sim?
I don't know why I was.
He was young and stupid. I'm
I
telling
just
you
didn't.
guys.
The problem is that I didn't realize how committed you have to be to marriage. I just thought like, hey, you got to.
He thought I was a halal booty call. That's all. That's all
Right.
he thought I was.
Kinda, yeah. But
Yeah, he thought I was a piece of meat, and that's all I was good for.
I didn't realize like you had to actually take care of their emotional interests. Like I didn't realize like that was really a thing. I thought that was just something that you're supposed to say to each other. But I didn't realize I had to actually spend time and care about what she thinks because
Yeah.
well the problem is that we spent a lot of time together in the beginning of our marriage, more than what is rationally possible, and I think there wasn't much new to be talked about, and I think the only way we were experiencing anything new was together, and so there wasn't really much to talk about. Our work was boring. There wasn't nothing really
Whatever. We had
compelling to talk about work. I mean, you worked,
Eddie Mom.
and I worked at a
drama.
stupid place, and
But the kids. But you didn't
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean-
talk about kids.
I mean, how much can you talk about the kids? Really, like how entertaining can
They're so entertaining.
2-year-olds be? I mean,
God, love my kids.
yeah, I mean they're fun to talk about for maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour. All right, I'll give you an hour. What do I do with you for the next 4 hours of the day?
All right, so Sharif is saying, say sorry for all of us guys to her. Mashallah, she is so strong.
I am sorry for any.
Other jerks out there.
one else. Who
I love
is
you.
mean
You
to-
know I love you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to get to the good part where we get past this bad period, right? So anyway, and then Sayed's asking, did you guys not have any similar hobbies or interests in the first couple years?
We did. This thing is, we burnt it all out. There was nothing much more to discuss. She did the common bands that we liked.
Yeah.
I mean, there was much. She plays them over and over again. Literally to this day, she plays the same songs over and over again. And there's nothing more to be discussed about Kurt Cobain,
yeah.
or any other grunge band.
And I wasn't into...
That was the only overlap. Like, I came from a heavy metal background, and she came from a punk background. The only commonality of a few bands that we liked
yeah.
were like the Ramones and some grunge bands like Green Day. I guess they're kind of punk and
Yeah, whatever.
yeah. I mean, there was a small overlap, and that we could hang out with that, and we could have some conversations surrounding that. And then there was like, okay, well, there's not much more to talk about other than that, you
Yeah.
know. And then,
And I was into your video games
but
or...
you didn't read much either. I mean, and there wasn't much to talk to you about
Hold on.
in general.
I was an avid reader growing
I mean,
up.
you liked like novels,
It was like now that I have kids, I don't have time for that stuff.
right?
I didn't have time. I was like,
I mean, what I'm trying to say
I
is
was
it's
immersed
not
in my children.
whether it's reading. I'm not trying to say. I'm talking about like having a conversation over something, right?
Yeah.
There's only so much you can explore and find out. I was pretty much an open book, and I think I am that way with you guys as well, the listener. And I try to be as open as possible without humiliating my family. But I think she got to know me as much as she possibly could, and after that, I'm like,
I didn't know
what else do you like about me?
So
I'm not
I
very.
used to get very jealous of his friends because I'm like, why do you like spending so much time with them? Like, what? I was like, what are they giving you that I can't give you? Like, I'm your wife, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so
There.
it got pretty, yeah, so life just we were kind of in a rut for a few years, right? The first few years, it was just routine, just, work and kids and his friends coming over and me just being frustrated. And I was frustrated also because you're right, because I didn't have time to go make friends. And I also had anxiety, remember, about people coming over.
So here's the thing about you making friends. Wasn't that you can't make friends. You're perfectly,
Yeah, social whatever.
person. And the thing is, Chicago, big cities, they're very cliques.
Oh my God.
They're
so
very
cliquey.
cliquey. I grew up in Chicago and I couldn't make friends because, guys like Morton, they had their own cliques that they used to run with, and I wasn't part of that crowd. And for a large period of my life, I didn't have friends. So I dealt with it, and I thought like, hey, she's personable enough. There's really no one who doesn't like her. I can't see why she wouldn't have any friends, but apparently Chicago girls are even more cliquier, and they weren't
so
really
cliquey, dude.
receptive to having her in their crew. So that was something difficult to overcome as well. And I think this at this
and
point,
most of your friends you make in college.
Yeah.
And so I did go back to college, but I went to college at night. So I was working. So at this point, our daughters were like 8 months old and like 2 years old or something. They were 2.5 or something. So I went back to college, and I'm going at night. I'm doing the adult program, and yeah, that's where I made my best friend, the next best friend that I had for like 9 years.
Yeah.
But these are all like adults for the most part, and it was just like different. It was just,
I mean, usually
was hard.
people who go to night school are
adults.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
They're like, and I'm like 23 or 24, and I'm not really.
they're people
much of
who
an-
they're people
usually-
who have baggage, and you don't need you personally. I think you have stuff that you don't want to. You want someone who can take a load off of you. You don't want someone who's already got like a lot of stuff going on in their life, and then you can't really be a shoulder.
Yeah.
They can't be a shoulder for you to lean on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So.
Or neither can you be for them.
Yeah. So anyway, we're young, and now, we're we have a couple kids, and I feel like the change happened about 5-6 years into our marriage. Like, I don't know what happened. He turned like 27 or 28. I guess that was like, that would be, well, you were technically, you turned 21 the year we got married. So, yeah, about 6 years into our marriage. When he turned 27, it was like a flip switched with him. All of a sudden, you know what it was? It was all his friends got married. So now and I used to tell him, I was like, you just wait. All your friends are going to get married, and who are you going to be left with? Little old me. And sure enough, they all get married, and he's left with me. And now he's my best friend forever.
Oh boy. Well, luckily I have now you, the podcast listeners and the YouTube listeners as well. So I won't. You guys, I don't know if anyone listened to or watched the Animaniacs when they were kids. A lot of 90s kids would have watched it. There's this girl named Elmira on there, and she would get like these little pets. She would get like cats and dogs and stuff like that, and they're all terrified of her because she would smother them to death.
Mm-hmm.
She is Elmira.
Yes, I am. Proud of it.
That's what she does.
So anyway, so all his friends get married, and now he's left with me. So we became best friends, and we started hanging out a lot. And then I guess is this around the time? Yeah. So then his sister got married. Then his brother got married. Your younger ones, and I got pregnant with baby number 3. So we had a 5-year gap between baby 2 and baby 3. So our first 2 daughters are 2 years apart, and then after 5 years we had baby number 3. So we had a big gap where we didn't have kids because baby number 2
and during this whole time there's like kind of a brewing frustration in me that I always wanted a son, and right now we're on baby number 3 and it's another girl.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of depressed now because I really wanted a boy by the 3rd one. And
I'm telling you, misogyny, guys.
no, I mean, it wasn't like I didn't like my girls. I loved them to death, but I just wanted a boy.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
But it wasn't just one boy. I didn't want like a football team or anything.
So you guys have to understand.
One boy.
You have to
Not much.
understand. You have to understand. Sim comes from a family of all boys. So he's the oldest of 3 brothers, and then there's a sister. And then all of his cousins are boys. He only has 2 other female cousins out of like 15 cousins or something, right? So he grew up like in a pack of boys. So that's what he loved. He's like, I loved having my cousins, a bunch of guys, like, and we would rough around, and he really wanted that boy. So anyway, but in that pregnancy, like, he was like super attentive. He was like really nice. Like,
So I thought being attentive and nice meant boy will come.
oh, well,
Nope.
no.
3rd one ended up being a girl again.
So yeah, so I didn't feel like that single parent anymore. Like, he was actually like very hands-on with the pregnancy, with the kids, and everything you just changed.
I'm being a little bit, I'm joking a little bit. I think I was maturing at that point, and I realized like, hey, there's some things you got to do around the house. You got to start cleaning up more, and it wasn't like a flip of the switch. Nothing is a flip of the switch with me.
It felt like it to me.
Yeah, for you maybe, but for me it's like I'll move an inch, and
you moved a little more than an inch.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah.
I think you just have to just take the small progressions. And if you're like me, you have your ways and you're kind of stuck in them. Don't expect for that magical moment to, your mind will flip and you're gonna become a completely different person.
But I think they say the honeymoon period lasts like 5 years,
Really?
something like that, or
I thought
3
it was
years.
much shorter.
Okay, wait. No, sorry, honeymoon period is like 6 months, I think. But they say that if you can have your marriage, if you can make it through your marriage the first 5 years, you're good.
Yeah.
So alhamdulillah, this was at this point like 6 years into our marriage, and things were a lot better, and we had our baby. Now I'm going to tell you about this. So I knew Sim wanted a boy. I knew this was a girl because we had the ultrasound and everything, and we inspected those ultrasounds. Oh my God. We like dissected them. We put them on the screen. We blew them up. We're like, are you sure that's not a boy? Like, we were like, remember?
I felt so bad
were
for
like-
her. Like I'm like she doesn't really care, but she's just doing it so that I'm happy because she knows at this point it's really affecting me, and I'm quite frustrated by it. But then, well, you know what? I just made dua to Allah that hey, if this is going to be a girl, just give me the love that the Prophet had for Fatima.
Yeah.
Fatima radiallahu
Sallallahu
So, sallallahu and that's the dua I made, and I kid you not.
Okay, wait. Let me tell
Yeah.
them what happened.
What?
So
What
when I was in labor, when I was having the third baby, I made dua to Allah. I was like, Allah, because they say when a woman is in labor that those duas are answered.
Make a boy pop out instead of a girl.
Yeah, so I was like, Allah, please just give him a boy. I don't know if that means you make this one a boy, like surprise, or we adopt, like.
By the way, for those who don't know, for girls, when you find out it's a girl in the ultrasound, it's 99.9%
A girl.
a girl. There's like the margin of error is like usually the technician has like a vision problem. That's when they get it wrong.
Yeah.
So out comes the girl.
Yeah. And
girl comes
she was the cutest, most beautifulest, cutest little baby.
She was
Mashallah,
unbelievable.
mashallah.
She's like born cute. Like so, usually kind of you don't want to say some newborns are kind of ugly.
She had like,
They are.
oh my God.
And she was not.
And
She was just beautiful right out of the beginning.
just melted into the floor when she was born. Like, he was like a goner. And she ended up being like the what do you call it? Daddy's little girl.
Yeah.
I mean, and so now let me tell you what happens. So she's born, and I'm on maternity leave, and 6 weeks after maternity leave, Sim gets laid off from his job. So when we talk about the marital issues, financial, okay, Sim gets laid off from his job, and we just had baby number 3, guys. And let me tell you something, I was not making a lot of money. Okay, I was working at the same company that helped pay my tuition, and they were taking me for a ride and milking every penny out of me. And I had to stay at that job because at the time I had to stay at the job because I was pregnant. They had 100% maternity insurance coverage. So that's why I stayed. And then when I'm like, okay, now I have the baby and now I can go find another job, he loses his job. So this is a very stressful time, but subhanallah, like, look at this. He loses his job, and guess what happens? He becomes Mr. Dad. So he is forced to bond with this baby girl that he was not happy about having, prior to her being born. And now he is forced to like spend every waking moment with her, like 6 weeks old, guys. Like, he had to feed her every 2 hours while I was at work, and change her diapers and burp her and do all the mommy thing, because
I even lifted up my shirt, offered it to her.
shut
She wouldn't
up.
take. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, someone asked at this point, how old were we? I was 27 and you were 29 when she was born, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're quite a bit older at this point. So anyway, about how many months later, when she's 8 months old, okay, living with in-laws, guess what happens? We move in with Sim's brother. So his brother had bought a house in in a 4-bedroom house, and my in-laws were like, why don't you like sell your 2-bedroom townhouse in Bolingbrook, whatever, and just go live with your brother until you get back on your feet. So he had just bought a 4-bedroom house, so he took 2 bedrooms, him and his wife, and their 2 kids, and she had just had a baby 5 months after this baby. So they have 2 kids and I have 3 kids, and we're in 2 bedrooms. Okay. So this is how we made it work. We told them 1 week we'll clean the house and that week you guys will cook, and the next week we'll cook, and you guys clean. So
Yeah.
that's how we balanced the chores around the house and made it work. In the middle of all that, my brother-in-law's wife's cousin moves in from India, remember? And then he gets married, and now he's living in the house. So now we have, how many people is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. It's a lot of people.
I feel like there was 12. Myself, 11. And now I'm pregnant, okay? My baby's 8 months old, and I find out I'm pregnant again. Like, I actually went to a doctor to not get pregnant, and they were like, oops, you're pregnant. So I was like, I'm done after 3 kids. Like, this is like way too much. Like, you guys, 2 kids is perfect. 3 kids, you're drowning. And that 4th kid, I mean, you're already drowning. So
You're not drowning.
Yes, you are. He doesn't do anything. What does he know? You're drowning with 3 kids, okay? So I thought I was done, but alhamdulillah, I got pregnant again. Like, you planned and Allah plans, right? So here comes baby number 4. And he's still unemployed. We're living with his brother. I'm working 12, 13-hour shifts at work. So we had a big project at work. We were going live with SAP. So I had to work long hours. I'm pregnant, pumping, nursing, like all this stuff, like for my baby that's at home. And I'm working 12, 13-hour shifts, trying to get overtime because I was hourly. And, just trying to make ends meet, And so then what happens?
So then we end up. We get the baby comes. Do you want to just skip to the baby and?
Yeah. So
the baby finally ended up being a boy.
And it's a boy. Oh my God! When we found out it was a boy, like at the ultrasound.
Oh my God! Yeah, I wanted to hug the technician.
Sim.
And she was a Muslim
No.
hijabi. It was just like.
It was a Muslim hijabi girl, and she was like, "What do you guys think it's going to be?" And we were like, "We don't want to say because we don't want to jinx it. Like, we don't want to even like try to guess." And the minute she said it's a boy, Sim drops down in sujood. Like, he just started praying.
It was much
shukr.
easier because the technician was a hijabi.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have probably done it if it was.
He starts praying shukr namaz, shukr salah, and I'm just like crying. I'm like, oh my God, he got his boy. Like, alhamdulillah, like the pressure's off, you know? Like, whatever.
She was just really, she honestly didn't care. She knew that it meant a lot to me. Yeah, she was scared of boys.
I was so terrified of having a boy because I grew up with sisters. I grew up with a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
My little brother, who's 10 years younger than me, was like a terror. So I was scared to be anything like him. I was like, oh my God. So I was happy for Sim, alhamdulillah, he's getting his little boy. So then we have our son and,
But to this day, I call him Baby Brother. That's his nickname.
yeah.
Baby Brother, come on. We're going to play video games.
So Sim is still unemployed, guys.
Oh, no, not today.
No, not today. Back then. So we have baby number 4 so I get pregnant, have another baby, and he's still unemployed, guys. So it was very stressful, like financially. And so I think when my son was this was during the recession. This is like 2009, 2010, right? So this is all happening.
I'm working
during the recession.
I'm working like odd jobs here and there, like
Cash jobs.
small contracts.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think you can.
Okay.
So we're law-abiding citizens, Noreen, Ahmed. I don't know what you're talking about, but so you work and you make ends meet, and and I think when you look back at it, most of the stress is just in your head. You just don't realize. I mean, if I can go back, I just wish I made I wish I could make most of the best, use that time more wisely, and
you also went through a bit of a depression during that time.
Yeah,
right?
I was really depressed, but guess what?
Because you don't feel like a man, like you're not able to work and provide for your family, and you see your wife pregnant and working 12, and so what? He was so sweet.
I was
guys.
a battered husband. She would come back home yelling at me like,
Whatever.
I don't
No,
know
he was
why.
so sweet, you guys. So I would come home. So I used to work like 10 minutes from home, and I would come home to nurse the baby,
Yeah.
and he would make me like a sandwich in the kitchen while I'm feeding the baby, and he would come like feed me while I'm feeding the baby. Like it was like he was such a like good wife. It was so awesome.
I don't remember that. I have no idea. And she's, like
You're such a good wife.
the victims have those kind of fake moments, fake memories. That's what happened
No,
here.
it really did happen, guys. He was so sweet and so alhamdulillah. That was so awesome. But anyway, so then what happened? So then his unemployment runs out, right? And I am like stressed out. I'm like, okay, at least we were getting unemployment checks, that was helping us. And then he would do like odd jobs.
Oh, and then I got a job, and then I
supplement.
get fired again.
Yeah.
That
And
that wasn't a firing. That
no,
was
you
no,
quit.
no.
That one?
No,
You quit.
yeah. No, wait. Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the one in Lombard or something.
No, that one I
Oh,
got fired.
Oh, okay.
Me and the owner didn't get along.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, anyway, so now I'm like, I can't support a family of 6 on my measly income. So, I start scrambling to find another job. So, I was like, I'll just do any job. I'll like work at JCPenney or like Kohl's or something. Like, I'll just do anything at this point. And Sim was like, what? You're going to take like a stupid job? Like, you work in finance. And I was like, I don't care. I need to do something because he's like, Noreen, we're not going to be on the streets. My parents live right down the street. We'll just move in with them. And I was like, living with your parents is like living in the streets. Like, I was like, I'm not going back. I mean, I could not move a family of 6 back into his parents' house. I'm sorry. 4 kids back in with his parents. Like,
They have a
no
pretty
way.
big house, Noreen.
Wasn't
They do.
anybody living with them at that time?
Nope.
I think Jabron and Summer were. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were. So anyway, what?
Uh-huh.
So anyway, so what happened? So this is like just my moment of like my own like self growth or whatever, or learning my own self value. So I started putting my resume out like on Career Builder and Monster and stuff, and I started getting like job interviews, and job offering me double what I was making at this place I was at for like 7 years. And I was like, what? You want to pay me double? Like, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but in my head, I was just like, wow, I'm actually worth something. Like, I didn't even know like my own self-value at the time.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, so I got an amazing job. It was like far. It was like a long commute. But I needed, sometimes like Allah like puts you in these situations where he forces you to make a change. Like, I was so comfortable at that job. I'd been there 7 years. I liked the people. Yes, it stressed me out. I had to work long hours and stuff, but I was comfortable. It was close to home. Whatever, all these things that made me comfortable. But now Allah had to force me to get out of that and learn my worth, right? So, yeah, so I get a job. Alhamdulillah, he got a job at the same time. So we both got really good jobs at that point. And at that point, like, our whole financial situation completely changed.
Yeah. I mean,
We
like-
were in so much debt, like, in those couple years that we were unemployed, right? And then, so now our financial situation changed. Alhamdulillah, so I don't know if you guys have heard of, like, they're called, like, BCs or chittis or things like that. So this is a really awesome concept that a lot of Muslims do. And basically what it is like, for about, I don't know, 2 years, everyone puts in, let's say like,
a group of 10.
let's say 10 people put in $500 a month. What is that? $5,000?
Yeah.
So every month is a pool of like $5,000 that everyone's putting in. It's like halal, interest-free like savings. So when your month comes, you get that whole pool of money, right?
Yeah. Essentially whoever really needs it the most, they end up taking it.
So we did one of those. So we were able to pay off our, credit card debt. I'm ashamed to say, but we did. We had credit card debt because, that was the situation we were in. So, alhamdulillah, we did some of those pooling the money together, BC, Chitti, whatever it's called, committee. I don't know. I've heard all these terms. And that was a halal way for us to like get ourselves out of a hole.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, we got out it didn't take us very long, maybe a couple years.
Yeah. Specifically, I mean, we were living with my brother, right? So
No,
wait,
we weren't living with your brother.
what period are you talking about?
So we were in Londonderry, and then
Oh yeah, right, okay.
So then we ended up, his brother ended up like deciding that he wanted to like be close to his parents. So he was like, you guys can like take over my house payments and stuff, like you guys can have the house basically. So then we ended up moving back into his brother's house, but now is our house, and we were living there alone.
Yeah, and with our incomes, we had like enough money to really have a surplus, and that's how we were able to kind of use that as a launching pad for everything we want to do for the next 10 years up till now.
Yeah. So in all this time, like Sim had all these, I forgot to mention, like in this whole time period, Sim had all these little side businesses. So some of you guys, did I tell them on one of these shows?
Yeah.
Which show was it that I mentioned? But some of you listeners probably didn't hear it. So Sim always did like these little side businesses, right? So photography.
I was in the e-cigarette game before anyone was.
Yeah, e-cig. He started like making his own liquids for e-cigs, and he started selling them to friends and stuff. And I was like, dude, you're making like 1,000% profit on margins on this, because I work in finance, right? So I'm thinking like a finance person. I was like, we can turn this into a full-scale business and make crap loads of money off this. And he was like, I'm not that into it. I was like,
the only thing that interests me is things that interest me, and I can't control what doesn't interest me. It's something I helped the neighborhood kids who want to kick cigarettes, people I grew up with. They ended up quitting cigarettes through me, and through the magic of electronic cigarettes. So alhamdulillah, that's all that was to me. And I didn't like the connotations that e-cigarettes brought. I didn't know like how Chicago's a very small town, and word spreads pretty fast. People start saying, oh, so and so, he's the son of, he's a cigarette guy or e-cigarette guys. Sooner or later, that telephone game becomes some other drugs or narcotics and stuff like that. And I didn't want to bring that kind of thing on my parents. And so I just said, you know what, made some money, paid off some loans, move on. That's not very. It's not a passion of mine. I think that it would be a great business venture for the capitalists, but for Sim here, it's something more challenging, like the Mad Mamluks was kind of cooking back then.
Yeah. So going back to our infographic about marital issues, can you bring that back up?
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about for women, in-laws. Oh, so I forgot to mention how my relationship changed with your mom. How did I forget that?
How did it
So
change?
after we moved into our own place when I was like 22, 23, I want to say. So I had to like take care of all the house. I had to cook. I had to clean. I had to learn all these things. And that's when, first of all, I realized like how much his mom did for us. I was like, oh my God, like she used to like do my laundry and like clean our room and take care of the baby. And she cooked for us every day. Like it's like when distance makes the heart grow fonder. Like I just realized like how much she did and what a brat I was. And then I realized this was a mind shift. And this is why I want to tell you guys who live with in-laws or whatever. What I told myself was, we are Muslims. She is a Muslim. And and while I was pregnant, I was like, I love my baby so much. And she's a mom, and she loves her babies, I'm sure, just as much. And I married one of her babies, right? And I love him a lot. And she raised him. And the way I love my child, whoever my child marries, I'm just going to love them so much because I love my kid. And if somebody loves my kid, I'm going to love them. Like, thank you for loving my child. So I was like, how can she not love me? If she loves her son, she has to love me because, like, just through extension, like, right? And
I
then
guess if it makes sense to you
it
and
made
you
sense
guys are
to
getting
me.
along,
It made sense to me.
that's
Hold
all
on.
that
And
matters
the
to me.
second part was I was like, she's a Muslim and she's not only a mother-in-law, she is a Muslim person and she has rights over me. And if I looked at her as just a human being, as a Muslim human being who has the same hopes and dreams and desires that we once had when we were kids, like, it just, I humanized her. I stopped looking at her like she's just this mother-in-law. It's like, no, she's a person who deserves to be respected. Like, she's sacrificing. I had to learn how to, like, kind of empathize and be like, she sacrificed so much of herself to provide for us and ease our struggles, you know, watching our kids and all this stuff. And once I had that mind shift, our relationship completely changed. And alhamdulillah, I love my mother-in-law so much and she loves me. And it's just, she, you know, and I know I don't think I explained well enough. Like, I don't know how much of you guys knew about, like, what I was doing with mental health and stuff, but my mom has severe mental illness to the point that she couldn't function. She emotionally could not function. Like, I literally had no emotional, like, attachment, like the mother-daughter attachment that most normal mothers have, because my mom, due to her mental illness, could not function as a person. Like, she couldn't cook, she couldn't clean, she couldn't take care of me if I was sick, you know, she couldn't do those things. And I feel like Allah gave me my mother-in-law, you know, as to replace that that emptiness, you know, that hole that I had in my heart. Like, yeah, Allah, I just love her so much. So anyway,
So
did we help each other pay off student debts? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's expected. We didn't believe in this keeping separate bank account thing.
Yeah, so we have joint bank accounts, and
To be honest, I spend more than she ever did, and
he still does.
for me, it's like it was just a plus that she wanted to put her money in the same account, because she was the thrifty one and I was the the spending one, and I
Yeah.
spent a lot of money on literally every hobby of mine ever.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of hobbies. I can't even get into how many hobbies and things I have going on at the same time. It's just an irrational ADD, and I think the moment I get bored of something, I just go pick up something else, and that's just me hopping throughout the week from one hobby to another. Mondays one, Tuesdays another, and so on.
But I want to ask you a question. Like, I always had this pressure of, am I good enough? Am I being like the ideal Muslimah? Am I being like the good wife? And do you, as a man, like, ever have that? Like, am I fulfilling the rights of my wife?
Nope, except when I'm not working. That's when I get upset. I'm like, wait, you're not doing you're not being a man. You're not working. You have broken the social contract, and society is not happy with you. You're not happy with you. Things need to change, and you do a lot of self-reflection and try to figure out all the bad habits you've picked up over your life, and you start like, all right, well, there's a lot of like moments of truth. Like, the only way to resolve these type of things is like, you know, you have to, in order to get out of your rut, you can't blame it on exterior things, because if you blame it on like the economy, if you blame it on your boss or whoever, you're gonna repeat it. You're gonna get back into that same situation again, and then your whole life is just a cycle of, you know, broken relationships, broken, you know, jobs that have fallen apart, or opportunities that have, you know, drifted away from you for whatever reason. But if you actually sit down and have this conversation with yourself, and you try to figure out like, okay, dude, just admit you were wrong. just say it. Just say it to yourself, and then you start fixing.
But what about this whole expectation that, you know, our culture has, like, that the woman has to not, even if she works, she still has to do all her wifely duties. She still has to cook and clean and all that. Like, I know you and I, we did believe in those traditional roles initially, but once we kind of realized, like, it was hard for me to balance working with 4 kids,
Yeah.
right? And at some point, like, you had to, I think maybe it was during that period when you're unemployed, we all had to, like, chip in and help around the house when we lived with your brother, maybe.
Yeah.
But you really, like, changed that, you shifted that whole mentality and started helping with cooking and cleaning. And now, like, 18 years in almost, there's no pressure. I don't feel pressure about having to cook, like, every night. Like, if I'm, like, tired or whatever, Sim will just go in the kitchen and start cooking.
Well, most of the time I do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you've relieved a lot of that pressure off me.
So yeah, so for me, it's now, it's not just like, helping out. It's part of it is like, there's a sense of responsibility that, maybe you can call it guilt or whatever, but I let her down earlier on in her marriage, in our marriage, and I kind of make it back up to her by, doing some things that traditionally a woman would, and the kids love it. The kids love my cooking.
Oh,
She
my
loves my
God.
cooking. Everyone loves my cooking.
He's
So,
such an amazing cook.
who doesn't like compliments? I always tell people, like, you should be independent of compliments and all that stuff. And I'm always trying to work towards that. But in the end, when everyone's smiling and they're having a good time eating the food that you cooked with your hands,
Yeah.
there nothing beats that. And
Yeah.
it's something that I enjoy doing after I come back home, making sure that I pass on whatever wisdom I acquired from that day to my older ones, while we're doing dishes and cleaning up, and then just having them eat with us, and then you kind of go off and do Mad Mamluk related activities or anything related to your professional job, and call it a day.
I think with the kids getting older, it's easier too now because they're pretty independent.
Yeah.
And another thing that I did, being a working mom and stuff, I taught my kids very early on how to pack their own lunches and get themselves ready. And my kids wake themselves up for school. They've been waking themselves up for school since my oldest was, like, in, I want to say, 3rd grade. Yeah, because Maureen was in kindergarten at that time, right? So, yeah, since they were around 5 and 8 years old, like, they've been getting themselves up, and my younger ones get themselves up for the most part for school. They all get themselves ready. I just say, hey, make sure you brush your teeth or whatever. And then I saw that. So, and, they pack their own lunch. They're very independent is what I'm trying to get at. They're very independent. And because they're like that, Sim and I are able to focus on our, the podcast or other interests that we have. Alhamdulillah. So, anyway, going back to infographics. So, what else was?
Yeah, we got a little bit of time left. Let's try to see if we can handle any questions. Anyone who's maybe newlywed in the chat, go ahead and let us know what we can help you with. I think somebody was asking something related to how do you tread carefully between trying to get your husband to pull his weight around the house with the kids without becoming nagging? No, she was nagging. There's no way to.
In the early years, I used to nag a lot in the early years.
She's a naggy McNaggy.
No, I'm not.
She nagged all the time. And
No.
for me,
And
I would just ignore it, and she would just get even more madder.
You had to tell the audience that when he was unemployed, I never once said anything to him about, why aren't you looking? Are you looking for a job? Did you look for a job today?
Mm-hmm.
I knew he's a man. He knows what his responsibilities are. And he's going to do what he needs to do. Like, what's the point of nagging every day?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
She didn't nag about that. She would nag about chores and stuff, about cleaning dishes and stuff.
I still nag about that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, not me. I think the kids have it now.
Yeah.
We have teens who are tasked with that responsibility.
So I nag them, pretty much.
Yeah.
We both nag them. You nag them too.
Everyone does. So
Yeah.
You're supposed to nag your teens.
All right. So any questions in the chat?
I hope we weren't boring. There's not a whole lot of. Jeez, I mean, there's quite a few people in the chat, but
I try to give some life lessons that we've learned over the years.
yeah, I mean,
I hope it helps.
everyone's getting divorced, so I think we want to
Yeah.
we want to send some positivity your way, and we want to say like, hey, I think what the numbers are 30% or more for Muslim couples. It's 1 out of 3.
Or like 50%. I don't even know. Oh, 1 in 3 American Muslims get divorced. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so that's what, 35%.
33.
Yeah, something like that. So,
They recommend. I just want to say what they recommend. Marital education reduces the chances of divorce by 33%. Engaged couples who complete premarital education had less negative communications after marriage, and 9 out of 10 couples who completed premarital education were less likely to get divorced. So this is our little premarital education for you guys.
Yeah,
Hopefully that helps.
premarital
33% of you guys are not going to get divorced now. So
Look, if you have kids, it scares me because I have 3 daughters and I have 1 son, and just the odds are against them that one out of those 4 kids could end up, having a failed marriage, and that just terrifies me, and I want to do everything possible, even if it means humiliating myself and talking about, the stupidity that I committed when I was young. If it can help someone's family or marriage be, together and not fall apart, I'll do it, and I think Noreen is on board with that, because the family unit is so important to keep together, because Noreen, being from a divorced family, can tell you like how much it damages your psyche. And
oh yeah, I mean, and that was one thing, coming from a divorced family, like that made me not want to ever get divorced. I was like, there's no way I'm going to put my kids through what I went through as a child. I mean, having divorced parents, having step parents, like it's not easy. It really, you guys, divorce affects the kids the most. Like if you can do anything to save your marriage for the sake of the kids. I mean, I'm in my situation, my parents, I think they were better off getting divorced. I don't know, Allahu Alam, but I don't know.
Yeah,
sometimes I wish they didn't, but
what's happened in the past, you can't fix it. I mean, it's something that we always talk about, but you have to really think about that idea. You don't know what would have happened if things would have worked out in a different way. But what the most important thing is just making sure that you realize that it's much more. The issue of divorce is much more bigger than you. It affects an entire generation, and yes, there are perfectly legitimate reasons for divorce, and I'm not
especially
here to
abuse and
abuse
things like that.
whatever it is, I'm just telling you, it has to be an absolute last resort. It cannot be like, and I think something like some of this counseling, premarital counseling, would have helped us tremendously had we had that opportunity when we were young, but we didn't. And I think
no, we did though. Your mom really acted as a counselor.
But I'm talking about, she'd only take your side, and I mean, she wasn't really giving me much advice.
Duh.
So she had this thing where she always wanted to, make sure that Noreen felt like protected, but even though they had this rocky relationship, she always had this protective nature.
She always had my back.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone asked, would you recommend people to get married young, like before college or after college? I think the only reason why it worked for Sim and I was because of his family, because of his mom. Having that supportive, if you don't have a supportive family, it's going to be really hard. If we didn't have his family, I don't know that we would.
Yeah, you got to know your family really well. I can't tell you. I wish I could tell you like, hey, get married early and make it work. But if I was a female, and maybe Noreen can speak better to this, but if I was an 18 through 21-year-old female, I would look for someone who's already established and just graduating out of graduate school or whatever. Being in their mid 25 to 30-year-old man who can actually take care of them.
Support,
I think
yeah,
that would be something that I would recommend a sister, but I'm
I
not.
agree. If
if
I
it-
could go back,
Yeah, and guys, yeah, it's tough. I know when you're in college and you see a lot of
hot
beautiful
chicks.
women. Yeah, a lot of beautiful women around you, and everyone's getting theirs, and you're not.
Yeah.
I,
I,
I cracked. I had to get married. I
yeah.
told my parents, I'm like, I'm. This is. I know myself, and I know how much um, I can withstand before succumbing to societal pressures.
Yeah.
So
And we had very simple weddings, you guys. Like,
Yeah.
we did not.
simple weddings, guys. Do not
I had-
forget
I
these
had
idiots who got their
I had a
huge.
3-in-1 wedding. My dad threw a reception for both my sisters and myself all together. Okay, so you can do 2-in-1, 3-in-1, do whatever you gotta do to save a buck. And he was a doctor. Okay, so I had a 3-in-1 wedding, and then our Valima was like it was in a masjid, but it looked like a gym, and we had balloons from Dollar Tree,
Yeah.
like at the wedding. Really good food. We had like
Look,
500 people there, and amazing food.
That's what
but-
I'm saying. I'm
but
like,
it was like
try to
this-
invite as many people as you can and offer them food, even if it's in a gym or in a park or something. And I was
Yeah.
telling Noreen, I'm like, why don't we just have our daughters get married in this beautiful park that's near our house? I'm like, let's just bring all this amazing food, and no one ever remembers the setting, the banquet halls, and they're all the same. They're a dime a dozen. Everyone gets married in one of those. Save some money. Give everyone the time of their life with great food.
Let's do a barbecue.
Some actually memorable
do a
experiences where
barbecue wedding.
I wanted something like a tent,
Yeah.
giant tent set up at a park, beautiful
Yeah.
park. And great food. What else do you need?
Yeah. So Joe's asking if we ever went on a honeymoon.
No, we didn't. We didn't do a honeymoon.
We were poor students.
But we've been on plenty of vacations, but it was
Alhamdulillah.
always with kids, and we've always had this kind of. So when we were young, we didn't really get to take the kids out much. We didn't have much money. We were eating ramen and just getting
And
by.
my mashed potatoes.
Yeah, so so every time we went on a vacation, we
It
were like,
was-
hey, we got to
it-
take the kids with us. So
And it was like to Arkansas to go see my family. Pretty
mean,
much.
we've been-
in the
we-
early years. I'm
yeah.
talking about. I actually like documented. Alhamdulillah, we have been on a vacation every single year of our marriage. Multiple. Some years we've gone to multiple places. Last year we went to like 8 places. We counted.
yeah.
So alhamdulillah, and now that the kids are older, we're able to travel. So we did our
Some of it
first-
was like for business reasons. We're not like
some
like
was
Kanye here, okay?
ISNA and TDC.
Yeah,
or like,
we're not talking. This is business. Like people, you're gonna give people the wrong impression. We're not like
well, we
ballers.
went to Colorado. We
Yeah, so-
drove.
so what-
we
what-
drove with the kids.
Yeah,
Went to the big trip we did last year was Cancun for the first time. Like that was the big thing that we
Yeah.
had never did.
right.
But yeah, so alhamdulillah, and we've been to Pakistan, India. We went for Umrah together
Yeah.
with the kids. So alhamdulillah, inshallah we'll do. You guys can donate and we'll go on a honeymoon. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
And thank you. I hope this was beneficial. I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. And let's get our sponsors.
HalfHardeen.com is a place you go for the private matrimony experience. Go to HalfHardeen.com and get your profile set up in as little as 5 minutes. WahidInvest.com is the place you go for halal investing. Go to WahidInvest.com and get your Wahid app so you can manage your finances very quickly. And MyWasiya.com is a website that was created by Joe Bradford. Joe made this website for Muslims living in America who want a Sharia compliant will that is also recognized by the U.S. government. So you go to mywasiya.com and put in the relevant financial information and get that will printed out in as little as 15 minutes. And you will see a link in the description below, and that will save you a little bit of money. That being said, thank you all for joining us this evening. For my co-host Noreen, my name is Sim. We'll see you on Mad Mondays. Assalamu alaikum.
Awesome.